These are the moments that show you just how special the Georgia football program really is. And these types of moments happen at other programs, but they happen very often at Georgia. And what happened after the SEC championship remind me of that. In the post-game press conference, which I barely made it to, I'm running, not running because I can't run, with my meniscus injury, but I get to Kirby's press conference as fast as possible, and I see Tate Ratledge and Dalen Everett are the ones sitting there, and a lot of the questions were directed at the players first. And Ratledge was asked, it was Ratledge that answered it first, but Ratledge was asked, what mattered more to you about winning this SEC championship? Winning the game or earning that bye, getting the rest, getting the auto bid into the Sugar Bowl? And he just kind of looked at the reporter. I don't remember who it is, and I'm not calling the person out, but he kind of looked at the reporter a little bit like, he goes, his exact answer was, I wanted to win the conference. Like those games, these trophies, that SEC championship game matters a lot. The conference championships, I fear, are going to be devalued over time with this college football playoff and with college football playoff expansion, which is sad because I think that they're very special games. And I say that as a guy that grew up in the SEC, and it is special. The SEC Championship is a special event in Atlanta. If you've covered it, if you've watched it, you understand that. And you understand why it means so much to Kirby. It means a lot to Kirby, and it means a lot to these players. And Tate Ratledge, no hesitation. I wanted to win the SEC Championship. I wanted to win this game. It's a part of why he wanted to come back. He didn't like the way it happened the year before. That's what he said. He didn't like what happened a year ago when Alabama beat Georgia in the conference championship and it knocked him out of the Final 14 playoff. He didn't like it. He wanted to return, and he wanted to get that trophy back. It's a trophy that they won in 2022. He wanted to do it again. And he's made 4 straight SEC championships as a Georgia Bulldog. And just a little bit about Tate Ratledge, but real quick, Ryan Curley from Dawg Post talking about Ratledge, talking about what makes Georgia special and the environment and the program. And you're seeing college football change a lot. I don't know that Georgia is going to change in a significant way, however. It's kind of my counter to that. So, Ratledge is a guy who entered Georgia as a pretty big-time recruit, as a guy that was highly touted as an offensive lineman, and he ends up being a guard, and he's supposed to start in 2021. He gets out there, and he gets hurt in game 1. And he's out for the season. And Georgia goes on, and they win that national championship. He comes back, has a really good year in 2022. Georgia wins the whole thing again. He's an All-American in 2023. He's played multiple years. And he decides to return in 2024. Why? Because they want to win more. And they want to do it for Georgia. And you see that happen with Carson Beck this past year. Carson Beck, obviously, there's personal reasons involved. He had a chance to boost his draft stock. But now you see the risk involved in that. And the risk is you play worse and you get injured. And both of those things happen for Carson Beck. But he not only did it for himself, but he was doing it for Georgia. And it kind of goes to show you. I've got all of these examples off of the top of my head. I think back to the drama. Oh my goodness. There's just so much drama in college football around this time of year with the playoffs and kids opting out and the transfer portal and the bowl games. It sucks. And I don't necessarily love the direction that the sport is going. Some of it's good, some of it's not. We need to fix the calendar is probably one of the biggest things we need to do is we need to fix this college football calendar. But, man, the drama of last year, Florida State, Georgia, getting knocked out, you see how those two programs responded to that. They responded in completely different ways. You saw Florida State's program just kind of dissipate over the course of this past year. Man, that football program went... And that's not me making fun of it. It's just what happened. They get knocked out of the 14 playoff. The quarterback gets hurt. Look, full disclosure, I didn't think Florida State was one of the 4 best teams anyway. And for some reason, people are ignoring that part of it. And a lot of people didn't have Florida State in their top 4, me included. This is past history, but I still don't understand. I get they were undefeated, but it's not just about the wins. It's about how you do it. It's about the strength of schedule. Oh, my goodness. So anyway, they're knocked out, and those guys just start transferring out, or not transferring out. You see a couple transfers out, but you see opt-outs, and they're like, I'm not going to play in this Orange Bowl game that doesn't matter. I'm not going to play in this game. I'm going to just get ready for the NFL. Keon Coleman, one example. I'm suddenly blanking on a lot of the big-time players other than Keon Coleman, but there was a handful of guys, and you get transfers, you get all these opt-outs, and that didn't happen for Georgia. You had two guys, maybe three players not play. I don't think Smile Munden played in the Orange Bowl either, dealing with an injury, but Brock Bowers and Amarius Mims, two NFL guys, both dealing with injuries throughout the year, and they're just like, look, we can't do this. You saw it in the SEC Championship. These guys are struggling to play, and then they opt out. For Bowers, it worked out well. And at the end of the day, Georgia was so talented they didn't need those guys. But you saw the culture response. Everybody played. Everybody played in that Orange Bowl, outside of a couple of guys. Kamari Lassiter, a borderline first-round pick. He was like, I'm playing in this thing. This matters to me. Kendall Milton played. Dejan Edwards played. All of these guys that were going to the NFL that didn't need to play in that game, they decided to play. Javon Bullard, a big example. And you saw that with the defensive backs and what they did. And they wanted to play. And other players and other teams, I think, are starting to take notice. And Georgia is just getting a natural recruiting pitch. What is so different about it is it's not built through the transfer portal. It's not built through NIL. Yes, those things are involved, and they do help construct the team. But unlike places like Florida State, Oregon, some other schools, it doesn't work completely. It's working at Oregon. They're cooking something up over there. But Florida State, it hasn't been working. And Georgia's model is very different. Trevor Etienne. This is one of the best examples of recruiting pitch for this program. Georgia's rival, arch rival. He's a Florida Gator for multiple years, 2 years. Little brother of a player that played for Clemson. Clemson doesn't like Georgia either. He's got a lot of reasons to not like Georgia. And he was at a Florida program for 2 years that was just in a really tough spot. You've got Anthony Richardson. You got Graham Mertz going in there. He's not the lead back. He's just getting some touches. And he's a very, very talented football player who is an NFL draft prospect for this upcoming draft. I don't know if E10 will leave, but we'll see. And what happens is he's like, oh, I see what's going on at Georgia. And I want to be a part of that. He transfers. He doesn't have the season that he wants to have, right? He off the field issues. Miss a game because of that. Miss a game because of rib injuries. Georgia's run game in general just doesn't play as well. Georgia's offensive line just doesn't play as well. Carson Beck has this stretch where he won't stop throwing interceptions. Some of them on him, some of them not. This is probably not the season ETN was really looking for. But then you head into the SEC Championship game. He's questionable to play. Officially, he was a game-time decision. And apparently he stood up to the team and he talks about, I don't know how you guys feel about the SEC Championship, but I want to win this game. I want to play in this game. This matters to me. I've never been a part of something like this. And that's what he said in the broadcast of the game. And he gets a sideline interview after the game, and they're talking to him. They ask him about Gunnar Stockton first, but then they just talk about his resiliency. And he said, I've never been a part of something like this. That's why that's why you go to Georgia, to have the confetti fall on you. It's a different feeling. Once you feel the confetti fall on you, whether you're a fan, whether you're me, whether you're a Georgia football player, whether you're some other football player, it could be a good feeling or a bad feeling depending on which side of it you're on. And he likes being on the side where the confetti falls on you and being a part of something bigger than himself. Kirby Smart said that ETN wanted to win. He wasn't transferring to Georgia, asking for all these touches, asking to be this monster running back and have a monster season. He asked to help Georgia win. And you see it with Tay Ratledge. You see it with Kamari Lassiter, Javon Bullard. You're seeing it with Trevor Etienne now. There is something special cooking at Georgia, and we're in some trifling college football times. There's a lot of exciting parts of it, but it's changing really fast, and some people aren't going to like it, and we're living in a new reality. But to me, Georgia is one of the handful of programs that will not completely change. It's going to have the roots of we want to build, we want to grow you as freshmen, and we want to do something special. To me, that's what Georgia's about. I think Tate Ratledge, it just sparked my mind in thinking about this after the SEC Championship. I think that he said it perfectly. He's like, I want to win. And that's what you do at Georgia. Thanks for watching.